Like, because from as far back as we can go, is human lived in caves, in communities. People live together, and it feels like sometimes there's an agenda. Like, I don't know if it's governments or councils, but it's like you should be alone. You should be living in your own place. This is how you should do things. And then things like mental health comes into it because you're not talking, you're not releasing. Like, living with parents and that Asian community sort of dynamic, it has worked for so many sort of
Mm-hmm.
generations.
Yeah.
But obviously it's like if you haven't done that before and you're used to your own
Mm.
space, if you've always lived sort of with big families and you're going into big families, quite natural.
Mm.
But when you're not, if used to it or you haven't been taught that way, then it's like kind of going to prison.
Yeah, exactly. You summed it up perfectly. It's like because it wasn't how I was raised, like I wasn't raised in a joint family either. Yes, we had our grandparents come and stay with us for, a few months at a time here and there, but it was like we still had that, four-member family. My parents, my sister and I. Like it was always just the us. And then, my mom, me, my sister, like it was just us. My Nani G came to help us out for sure. She was my best friend at that time. It was, yeah, very special bond that we formed. So I completely agree, but I feel like it's different for every person. It's different for your desires. I think the problem arises when we do things that are not in alignment with what we truly desire. That's when it arises. That's when the conflict arises. And I know there's a lot of joint families that have a beautiful equation, and there's also so many that have very toxic equations, very toxic, where actually it's destroying those people who live in that household, where there's an unfair balance or where the daughter-in-law is being badly mistreated. It's so common. That's more common actually than probably everyone being happily ever after and harmonious.
I've heard that, oh, the mother-in-law makes stuff up and then feeds the son with it and saying this is
Yeah,
what
there's a
happened and
lot of
she's doing this,
politics.
and it's a bit like I'm flabbergasted when I hear these
Yeah,
stories. I'm like,
yeah.
really? Why would she do that? Wouldn't she want her son to be happy? It's like this
Hmm.
trade-off that she doesn't want to lose a son, and is she taking my space, like that mother-son
Yeah,
bond as
it's
well?
like a resentment towards a daughter-in-law. And also, we have to remember that it's the mother-in-laws are also daughter-in-laws, right? So they've also been mistreated by their mother-in-law. So they're just repeating a cycle of a pattern of
Like a
behavior.
generational
They're just
trauma.
they're just it's a generational trauma. So they're treating their daughter-in-law how they were treated. That's all they know. And because that's just as it is and we don't question it, it carries on that way. So for me, I just wanted to be, I'm someone that actually really likes living on my own. I really do enjoy that independence. And I'm also extremely social. So I do then like to, tap in and meet and talk to people as well. It's not complete isolation, but I like to have that balance. So I can choose to just go to my safe space, my sanctuary, just hibernate, have that downtime, especially because I work with people. I work with, uplifting people. So I do want that time to myself as well, where I can just regroup, recharge. As much as being around people charges me, being alone also recharges me.
Mm. So, what happens when you are going through a breakup slash divorce? Family opinions, what's father saying, what's mum saying, what's grandparents saying, what's happened? Because in the Asian culture, that's like you can't do it.
Yeah, yeah. So I never wanted to get divorced. I never got married to get divorced. Even though I've come from a divorced family, I never envisioned that for myself. I'm an eternal optimist, so I always think like everything is happily ever after. I always anticipate the best to happen. And so that's why when the best outcome didn't happen, it's so disappointing because I'm just like always thinking the very best is always going to happen. But in the end, everything does happen for the best. Everything works out for the better, but you just can't see it at the time. So it was after 8 months of us. of us being married that the marriage started to break down. I guess I was still in my trauma, like my childhood trauma, me not too immature to be in a serious relationship like that. Him and I were both too immature. We were just not ready for it. I was still traumatized by my upbringing because the first relationship that you see in your life is that of your parents. So that is what you think is the norm. So whatever fighting and stuff they would do, like for me, that's normal to scream, to yell, to curse. So if I was angry, and I would be quick to anger because that's all I'd seen. That's what I had seen. You know, there was always fighting, there was always yelling, there was always just whole lot going on. And so for me, that was normal. So if I was angry, that's how I'd express myself. And he grew up in a more stable family environment. So for him, that was definitely not normal. So I know that took a toll on him. But neither of us were perfect. You know, we both had our own shortcomings. We were doing the best we could given the circumstances. And I think after 8 months, he realized that this is not for him. This is not what he signed up for. This is not, marriage is not for him. And so he ended up leaving. He was a musician. And so he went to Delhi, where, you know, you have more music opportunities. And he just ended up staying in Delhi. And I was still with his parents, living with his parents, because I thought that as a naive person, I believe at that time I must have been 28. I thought, you know, everything is going to work out. He's going to come back. This is just a phase. You know, he's going to come back. Like, of course, I didn't get married to get divorced. Like, there's no way. Like, he's going to come back. So, in my mind, I was so focused on that outcome. I convinced his parents as well that he was definitely going to come back. So, we were all like eagerly awaiting his return, thinking he's going to come back. And I thought, let me give him his space. He needs some time and space. So leave him to that in Delhi to like keep growing his career, making his music, and I'll patiently wait here whilst busy with my career as well. That's keeping me very busy. Um, and then I just kept waiting for him. And then after some time, he told his parents that it's a done deal for him. Like he's definitely not coming back. And then that's when the ball dropped for them. And they're like, oh, wow, like this is really over. And so eventually I moved out and I moved back in with my grandparents.
You said you waited for him. How long was that?
A year or two. I really waited. I'm very loyal. You're a Taurus. You know it. We're Taurines. We are loyal to a fault. We really are. We are so loyal. Um, I felt like I got married to this guy. I took that seriously. I knew I wasn't perfect, but I still thought that we're gonna work it out. Things are gonna be fine. And
Nowadays,
yeah,
people don't wait 2 days for somebody. It's like it's over, it's done. Okay, 2 days, boom, it's over. You know, like they move on.
I'm not like that
They're seeing
though.
somebody else. It's like
Yeah.
the old school generation. We were from that loyalty. You know, we would wait. We would.
I don't know if other people would have waited in my shoes. I feel like I am exceptionally loyal. Like Taurines, you know this being a Taurus, we are just very, very loyal. Like I used to be loyal to a fault, and I think that's a shadow side. Like now I would not be loyal to a fault at my own detriment. You know, now I would have a bit more sense of what is worthwhile, what is for my best interest. You know, I'd have a bit more sense and I'd be able to like just kind of move forward. The loyalty will still be there, but not like when, like I said, when I'm going to suffer as a consequence. So yeah, I waited for him and then I moved back to my grandparents eventually. I that period was very stressful for me, very stressful. I underwent so much stress. I was internally